Pretty obvious example of fat, but I should probably use a woman. There you go. You see how her gut's overflowing? That's an example of fat.
Potatoes, they're so beautiful to me. I love potatoes.
I'd say this person's fat, but only because their fashion's so terrible that it makes them look fat. Who puts fishnets over their belly? People who watch Breaking Bad because it reminds them of their own personal experiences. That's who.
Yep. Hello, Internet. It has been quite a while, I know. As you can see, I actually have a new camera. It's a lot better than my old one, hopefully. So there's that. So, the pandemic actually hit my life pretty hard, which is why I wasn't uploading for a long time. Just a lot of things were different, and I wasn't really used to how, like, the flow of my life was anymore. But I feel like I've kind of settled in a little bit now, so I'm going to try to make content again. I have a lot of ideas, but I'm not really sure, like, where to start. So I figured that I would just post something and see what you guys think. My main job is not a thing anymore, because, well, for a while anyway. I mean, maybe it will be again after all of this is over, but I used to go to anime and like game conventions and things like that, like nerd type venues, and sell art that I made, and I can't do that anymore because there aren't any more of those right now. So until that comes back, I'm not unemployed, I'm still self-employed because I still sell things online, and I do commissions, but I don't have like the same level of income, but I also don't have the same schedule demands that I had previously, so at least there's that. So I've been focusing a lot more online, obviously, so I've been meaning to make a video for a while now, but I don't know, I just kind of get really nervous when I think about it, and then I just don't do it, and I make up excuses, and then I work on something else instead. So now I'm finally sitting down and talking to you guys again, all like 40 of you, if you guys are even still here. If you are still here and wanting to see new content, I could use some opinions, so please leave your hot takes below. There are a lot of different things that I've been wanting to do, and that's kind of another reason why it's been so long since I've uploaded anything, because like I really don't know what direction to go in, and like stuff keeps happening, like every day something new is happening, so I'm like, do I talk about that? Is that what I want to focus on? If you are here because I made videos about Onision, I don't want to become an Onision channel, which I know like that kind of happens to people, I think, when they start getting successful because of that, and I would like to be successful for other reasons, I guess, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to have that same type of video about other subjects. For example, I have thoughts on the whole Shane Dawson drama, I have thoughts on Trisha Paytas, I have thoughts on Eugenia Cooney, and you know, any other YouTubers that you guys can think of. Like, I could probably have some thoughts about them. So if there is someone that you particularly want a video about, please let me know, and I will like see which ones have the most interest and which ones I also know more about, I guess, and make that. So honestly, like, you decide my content today. Those top 3 candidates were kind of what I was leaning towards as far as like my next video about YouTube drama anyway, was either Trisha, Shane, or Eugenia. I don't know if people want other kinds of content, like I could talk about my life more, I could talk more about like my subculture, like, you know, like goth culture or makeup or fashion or whatever kind of thing people are interested in, I guess. I could talk more about magic and like the occult and stuff like that, and witchcraft, if that is something people are here for. Or I could just talk about like other general topics, I guess. Like, I have a lot of things that I know about, so honestly, like, let me know what kind of thing you're looking for. I could potentially talk about politics if that's something people are also interested in, because obviously we're in kind of a volatile political climate at the moment. So I could talk about, general U.S. politics and or identity politics, things like that. I do have a lot of opinions and thoughts about things like that. However, the thing is that whichever topic I choose, I do need you all to understand something up front, and that is, if you're gonna cancel me, like, for something that I say that you don't agree with, honestly, like, just do it now, because that's just not a life that I want to live, where I'm afraid of expressing myself and being honest with people because someone out there is gonna be offended by it. Or disagree with it. And I'm not saying like I'm going to be an offensive person, because that's never my goal, obviously. Like, I mean, it is some people's goals, like Onision comes to mind, but it's not my goal. It's just that I have a lot of thoughts and opinions that are very nuanced, and like I don't really see things black and white. And I'm not saying everyone else does, but I do feel like a lot of takes that I see online are very black and white, or like very absolute. And that's just like not how I think. And I don't want it to be how I think, because my ability to overcome the desire to see things in like black and white is actually part of what has allowed me to overcome some of my like conditions, like in terms of mental health. So I don't really want to go back to that kind of thinking. I really want to stay where there are lots of like gray areas, essentially. And some people find that to be very inflammatory and controversial. And so if that sounds like, if you want to hear absolutist takes, then this is just not the right place for it. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Sometimes people really just need to hear something that kind of alleviates their feelings about something in a strong way, and that's fine. But that's not what I do. So people who appreciate a more moderate take on those kinds of things may enjoy the content that I make better. I could honestly make like probably a whole video about this, and I will if people are interested in hearing it, but there's kind of this big issue online that I've seen, especially this year, with what are called parasocial relationships. So that is when essentially you feel like you know someone online that you don't actually know. Like you feel like because maybe you watch their Twitch streams, or you watch their YouTube videos, or you read their blogs, or whatever like interaction you have with them is like them like being a content creator and you following them. It often leads to this perception that you know them, and there's so many like misconceptions, I feel like, and assumptions that people make about other people and their lives and their thought process and their feelings on things that I don't really find to be appropriate. Like, I don't really think can possibly be accurate. So that's like a whole other video. If you guys want to hear me talk about parasocial relationships, let me know. It's a really fascinating topic, and it honestly explains like a huge amount of the drama from this year. I think you all know kind of what I'm talking about, hopefully. I mean, there's been a lot of it, so I guess it could be anything, but all of it. So anyway, basically what I'm saying is, at some point, I will probably say something controversial, or something that somebody finds offensive or disagrees with. Like, I feel like that's inevitable, because everybody says things that are like that sometimes, because everybody has like opinions like that, like over one thing or another, and it's really just a matter of when it comes up. And you can't please everyone, and I don't want to try to please everyone. I just want to be who I am and say what I think, and if that is something that works for people, then great. But if it's not what you want to hear from me, then like my content just isn't your cup of tea, and that's okay. But I don't really care if I get canceled, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So if you ever want to cancel me for having like a opinion that you have a visceral reaction to, or anything like that, then just do it now, honestly. On that note, however, like, sometimes I say things that are wrong, or think things that are wrong, so you're completely welcome to correct me in the comments if I ever do say something that you disagree with, or that you don't think is fair, because I want to know those things. And I'm not always going to agree with your position, but I'll at least consider it, and, you know, like, that's how people grow and learn and stuff. So anyway, in conclusion, please tell me the following. Number one, what kind of content in general do you want to see? Do you want to see drama content, political content, occult content, goth culture content, something else that I haven't listed? Number two, if you do want to see drama content, do you want to see it about anybody in particular? Do you want to see it about Shane or Trish or Eugenia? Because those are the three things that I've been thinking about making videos on. And number three, by following my content, you hereby need to accept that you might not always agree with me on everything. And in some cases, our moral philosophy may not align the same way, but I'm not ever trying to be a bad person, and I do care about how other people feel. And so if you want to put me on blast or like stop following my content over something that I say, that's completely within your right, but it's not going to make me capitulate to your point of view. You're going to have either have a healthy discussion about it and make your point to me well, or just accept that we're not going to see eye to eye on that thing. And I will always listen. I always listen. So leave your comments about what content you'd like to see, and I am going to try to start making videos again. I have a schedule now that actually gives me times that I can film, which that was a big thing I was lacking before, which is why I wasn't really making anything. So, and even besides that, like, I've just been a little self-conscious, I guess. Like, I have way too much self-doubt, honestly, which is my downfall. And I like to sabotage myself. So the moment that I start doing something that is working, that's usually when I just stop completely, and I'm gonna try to not do that this time. So, but you guys have to hold me to that. I'm glad we had this talk. I just want you guys to know that I know it's been really rough on everybody this last year, but those of you who are still here, things will get better eventually. Everything always kind of ebbs and flows, and there will be bad years, and then there will be good years. I don't know if 2021 will be a good year yet. I think so far it's been a very interesting year, even though it's only January. But that's just the times we're living in right now, so hang in there. Things will get better, and we'll figure some stuff out, I'm sure. And you matter, and people care about you, so take care of yourself. Okay, bye.